Every year, my family kind of goes redneck and gets together to shoot guns. I'm no gun expert myself by any stretch of the means, but I do like to shoot a rifle here and there. Well, about a month ago, in early July, right before the 4th, I had an experience with a creature that I cannot properly identify, and I need help. Since I am the youngest of 3 brothers, it is my job to help set up the shooting range. That means I have to go down there, set up the targets, and make sure the tires we have behind the targets are properly in place and routed down correctly. As I am down there, putting up the targets, the rest of my family is inside, waiting for me to finish the job, when off to my left in the woods, I hear a loud sniffing sound. You know how a dog makes that sniffing sound? It was that exact sound, but really exaggerated and very loud. I turned, and in the clearing of the trees was this large Doberman Pinscher-looking animal. It was a smoky black, with tall cropped ears, huge teeth, and what I would describe as very striking yellow eyes. It had its head up in the air, and it was sniffing something. I don't know what it smelled. I was hoping it wasn't smelling me. This thing was also incredibly ripped. It looked like it was pushing weights on a Bowflex back in the woods or something. Completely overly muscled upper torso with a thinner, smaller, dog-like behind area. I know the analogy might be stupid, but if you've ever seen Family Guy, there's a character whose name is Joe. He's in a wheelchair. He's incredibly ripped, but his legs are very small and petite. That's the best way I can describe the drastic look and change of this creature's body. Like this thing only ever built up the muscles in its front portion of body. As soon as I saw it, I was petrified, and I ducked down behind the large target, hoping that it would not see me. I sat there while I thought I was hidden, and I heard this sniffing sound a while longer, and then it ceased. It was probably a couple of minutes before I felt like I had the guts to even turn my head just to check. I saw that it was gone, and I took that opportunity to bolt for it back to the house. I never heard it as I left or walked away, so I really had no idea if it was still in the same spot or not, or if it would even chase after me. I wasn't going to risk finding out, if we're being honest with each other. I get to the back door, and my brothers begin questioning me why I have not put all the targets up yet, and I tell them simply that we can't shoot because there's a huge bear. I am then met with a billion questions of what do you mean there's a bear, blah 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 blah. I knew if I described them exactly what I saw, I would have been laughed at, so I just wrote it off as a big brown bear. After some thorough convincing, they seemed to believe me, and instead, we just gave up on shooting that day and decided to all go ATVing, off in a much different area far away from here. I don't know what it was I saw, but it was a humongous animal. The sight of it alone petrified me. It looked like it could have done some serious damage if it got a hold of somebody or something. So here's the million-dollar question. What exactly did I see? This happened 2 months ago, when my aunt and sister came back from horseback riding, when they told me about something big following them home. Whatever it was spooked the horses badly. They were only able to catch a small glimpse of it through the trees, but this animal was paralleling them the entire way home, which was about a 3-mile trail that they took. The trail they take, which is right near the house, makes a larger horseshoe shape, and at the bend in the trail runs right along a large creek that flows through the entire valley. It's beautiful to hike and to ride your horses through, normally, having been on the trail only a few times myself. It had my sister really freaked out, and she felt terribly on edge almost the entire time back, feeling like something was watching her, just beyond the trees, following them all the way back. My aunt is pretty experienced in the outdoors, much more than my sister, and is able to keep grounded much easier. She ain't fazed by much. She's a pretty hardy woman, but even she admits her nerves were going the entire way back. She knows that if her horses are responding to whatever is around them, it's not just their imagination. What exactly it was is unclear. They only heard a noise like something big running through the trees and heavy breathing. At other points, they would hear grunts and even snarls nearby. My aunt told me that she said it sounded really big, like a bear or possibly a moose, but neither of those animals behave in such a manner. It sounded like it was on all fours, judging by the way it walked, and did not walk bipedally. The horses seemed really skittish and wouldn't walk anywhere near the edge of the trail where it hugged a small patch of grass, and then right where the trees were at. This animal, or thing, followed them closely, right beyond sight in the trees, all the way until the trail broke, about several hundred yards that led down into a small vale where my aunt's house is, and beyond that, the stables where they keep their horses. Obviously, if it really wanted to, it could have come out of the trees at any time and attacked them or the horses, but it chose not to. It kept purposefully hidden for some reason. Neither my aunt or my sister fully knows or understands why. There's no large predators in the area that behave this way, sound like that, or are as large as that sounded. Nothing added up, and it really made both of them rethink walking the horses on that trail, especially during that time. This happened at about 7 p.m. in the evening time. It was still bright out, but the sun was beginning to set, and it was starting to get dusk. No light visibility had lessened yet. They both tried to move faster on the bend back to the house. The climate is also very dry. In the summertime, it's rattlesnake country. With all the brush and rocks, it can be very dangerous to be out there by yourself stranded. The woods are full of white oak, pine, and fir, all littered throughout. They both said that it is one of the only times either has heard or dealt with such a thing. My father passed away in 2007, and ever since then, I inherited his house in Louisiana that is bordering right up against some swamp. The swamp goes on for about 5 miles and then butts right up against some hard pine wood. That goes on for a few more miles, and I'm not sure what that turns into, because honestly, I haven't explored far enough. What I can tell you is standing out on the back porch at night, you have a beautiful view of the swamp below you. I say below you because when you step off the back porch, the land is almost a hill and continues to descend into the swamp before you hit the marshy ground, and then it descends more into the water. Well, I like to sit out there at times, and more so at night, drink moonshine, and sometimes smoke a cigar, and I'm not lying to you. I've seen large shadows moving around in the swamps at night, just outside the light's reach. Before you go off saying that I'm probably seeing a Bigfoot and the shadows, what I've seen from the silhouette is something that resembles a dog on all fours, but just large. Listen, I understand that I'm making pretty drastic claims, but I'm telling you what my eyes make out to be a very large canine-looking animal, and for whatever reason, it continues to stay just beyond the full sight of light. Does it make me uncomfortable? Of course it does. I feel like this animal watches me. I'm not going to go all horror movie style on you and tell you that it stood up on 2 legs and tried to attack my house. But I do feel like whatever animal it is, I've never seen it before in my life. I don't live down here full time, but I do try and come down here as often as I can to honor my father. It never fails that it's out there watching me in the darkness. I know there are times that I'm out there, and even if I can't see it, I can feel the presence of this animal. The real kicker here is I don't know exactly what it is. I can only see the faint silhouettes, but I've seen this silhouette enough times to be able to accurately tell you it looks to me like a large canine, as I've stated to you previously. To my knowledge, there are no species of wolf that inhabit any swampland, but I'm no animal expert. The problem with that hypothesis is the silhouette is very large. If I'm able to put it in perspective with another animal, I would say it's even larger than a good-sized buck you would get in hunting season. That doesn't seem plausible, I know, but I've seen this figure moving enough times that I could tell you there is no being off on my size estimates. My eyes just don't play tricks on me. This is a large animal. It's very possible that maybe there's a specific species of wolf out here that have evolved over time to inhabit and live in segments of the swamp. It's the only thing that really makes sense to me. There's been a lot of areas in the state and swampland where development and construction alone have come in and, well, removed a lot of things. Everything here is practically untouched, and there's really not even any houses around me. Just swamp for the most part. It's too dangerous to go exploring down into the swamp, even during the daytime, with all the poisonous animals and alligators around. I don't have that much faith in the swamp to keep me safe, and after seeing the small amount of whatever animal this is at nighttime, you can count me out and I'll stay out. Now, I will say that I do listen to your channel often, because it helps me sleep at night, and I'm a fan of horror stories in general. But can I outright say that this is in fact a Dogman? I don't know. I always figured I would have a much better chance of seeing a Bigfoot than I would ever have a Dogman, but again, I don't know. Until I can get a spotlight on this creature and see it in the light for good, then I can't be 100% positive and make an accurate determination. Here's my worry. If I try and shine a light on it, I'm going to be provoking it in some way. And I honestly don't want to be dealing with some sort of swamp predator that's super intelligent, trying to hunt me down or break into the house that I'm in. I don't know if that's all the cryptid encounters that I've been listening to talking, or if that's a legitimate fear that I have. My gut just tells me to leave it alone, and let whatever animal that is be. I don't feel the need to prove the existence of anything. So with that in mind, I'm just here to share with you my experiences, and simply leave it at that.